She launched Work Sandy, an agency, and grew to $5.5 million of revenue, launched again in 2017. But she was a 50-50 partner, and I wasn't always quite sure who was really driving the thing. What she was excited about was an internal tool this agency had built to manage freelancers. They hired an outsourced dev shop. They spent 800, 900 grand building it. We're actually selling it internally for a bit. And Ray said, I want to spin this bad boy out. So she negotiated with her partner at the agency, spun it out. Tamara.com is now her company. She's running with two co-founders, and Tamara is also still on the cap table, but they're about to launch their pricing. And this is effectively the tool that has enabled them at the agency to have only 18 full-time employees, but still manage all of their freelancers in one spot. Really high margins, great profile there. She's launching now today, hoping to turn on pricing here in the next couple of months. We'll follow it closely. Hey folks, my guest today is Ray Hames. She's an industry veteran, worked as an agency operator, brand site leader, and freelancer herself. She's now building a tool called Tamara.co, which helps you solve operational challenges of managing freelancers. Ray, you ready to take us to the top?
Let's do it.
All right. I am convinced that we are within 5 years of somebody taking a company public with $1 billion in revenue or at $1 billion valuation because they manage freelancers and part-time talent so well. Tell me what you're seeing in the market.
Yeah, I think that first of all, there's a massive rise of freelance talent just across the board. My experience, as you mentioned, is squarely in the advertising space. You see every creative and marketer out there taking freelance roles, leaving the agency space, and being hesitant to go brand side for a lot of reasons. And the freelance life just appeals to a lot of people. And I think that we're seeing that grow more and more. And there's so many freelance marketplaces out there. There's so many tools out there that manage piecemeal solutions of managing freelancers, managing the experience of being freelancers. But what we are trying to solve for is the experience of building true freelance teams. So, within the agency space, it takes a village. And as brands are bringing in more and more marketing work in-house, they have to think about not only how do I find one good freelancer? Where am I going to find them? Is it somebody from my Rolodex that I worked with 3 years ago? Do I need to go digging on a freelance marketplace to find new talent? But when you're trying to build an entire team that's, flexible, project-based, there's a lot of operational complexities around finding the talent in the first place, and then certainly managing those contracts and managing that team to success.
Look like if I click book a demo on your site and you were on a demo and you show me your UI, are you going to basically do I post a job on Tamara and then you're aggregating from Fiverr and Upwork and freelancer.com and all the sites and you're showing me, candidates to hire and manage in your platform? What's the software actually do?
So what it's designed to do is to help brands manage their own pool of freelancers. This is really built from the insight that every single creative director I've ever worked with has their own Rolodex of freelancers that they're literally calling up on a phone every time they have a new role, saying, are you available? What's your schedule like? Can I book you in? And that's a really time-consuming process. And there's some brands, that have made it maybe a little more down the line in terms of sophistication. But ultimately, most people I know are still operating in freelance spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Who do they know? Who do they want to bring in? And this helps brands who are bringing on, say, 5 to even up to 50 freelancers at a time, bring the right people into the fold. And so what the actual UI looks like is that, to answer your question, is that they're uploading their own talent data. We're sending invites to those folks to build their profiles. And then we're able to manage those contacts and relationships. And, obviously keeping those profiles active is something that every talent marketplace struggles with. And I've got a lot of background on that. But ultimately helping brands keep tabs on their favorite freelancers. And then, if and when there's gaps to fill, we can help fill those roles through, we've got, a growing list of talent network partnerships that they can tap into and post a role where those folks can then see, oh, I'm really interested in that. And they'll end up on a talent listed within our system, all the way down to partner recruiting efforts where we can help find individually hard to find roles.
And so, Ray, just to be clear too, you're just getting off the ground, right? Are you guys pre-revenue or are you pre-market?
We're pre-revenue. Yeah, we are. We just launched yesterday. We announced our company launch yesterday. But how long
have you been working on it up till launch day yesterday?
So we're spinning out of a former consultancy that I had started back in 2017. And there's a long history here of the technology that we built in-house within that consultancy to help ourselves. And then now what we're doing with Tamara is that we're taking that kind of core nugget of technology that we built and building it into a true self-serve tool set for brands to manage freelance teams themselves.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here, and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview.
I don't want to skip over that part of the story because some of the most successful SaaS companies, they do this exactly the same thing. They spin out of an agency. So tell me brass tacks how you actually did it. You know, a lot of people, they don't know what the cap table should look like of the spin out because you spent agency dollars to build the internal version. So who owns the code base? Your partners at the agency own part of the SaaS company. How do you deal with this?
Yeah. And it was, it was one coming from a point of we had a successful consultancy business. It's generating solid revenue. It's grown year over year. And
like more than 4, 5, 6 million in revenue.
We did 5 million last year in revenue. It's pretty sizable, and we've got a small core team running the business. So, felt really good about that. And like I said, we had started to build some of this core technology for ourselves to help just make our jobs easier in managing freelance teams on behalf of our customers. And we looked at ourselves, late last year and said, we've got 2 different business models in play here. Do we want to be a SaaS company or do we want to be a services company? And, the kind of adage that guided a lot of the decisions is like, I
have to point this out there real quick because people listening won't know this. I'm on Work Sandy. That's the agency name's in profile. There's 18 full-time employees listed. The fact that you guys have 5.5 million in revenue with 18 full-time tells me you have a well-oiled freelancer machine running that are not listed as full-time talent on LinkedIn. So it's very effective. Imagine your margins are much higher than other agencies because you know how to use freelancers.
It's a successful model, and the goal of that business is to help brands build their in-house capability, their in-house marketing capabilities. So it's one part strategic consulting, it's one part recruiting, and it's one part freelance team management on behalf of those customers.
That's very impressive. Okay, so did you have a partner? Like, were you 100% owner of Work Sandy?
No, so I had a co-founder at Work Sandy. We had started the business together in 2017, and as I was saying, we got to the end of last year and looked at ourselves and said, we've got 2 different business models in play. We've got a successful business here, but we know that there's an opportunity to grow the SaaS side of the business. And I've always been really interested in scalable technology. Like, I've been in the Bay Area for 13 years. You don't spend that much time there without trying something yourself. We made the decision that I was going to take the tech side and spin that out. And the trade-off is that for the IP, Sandy and my co-founder have a little bit of equity on the cap table with Team Era. And in exchange, I left the cap table of Sandy with a little bit of an exit clause that if that business ever gets acquired or sold, then I get to see a little piece of that pie. But
I see. So you then basically your concentration of equity on the spin out. They got a little more equity in the agency because of that, and they still, but you both each still have a little upside in each other's venture, the studio and the agent and the SaaS tool.
Yeah, exactly. It felt really across the board fair. Felt like it acknowledges who's running the day-to-day business of each of those companies. You own
the majority of Tamara today. You own more than 60%.
No, I don't. I have two other primary co-founders with Tamara, both of which came over from Work Sandy. And I'm the CEO, primary shareholder. And then, like I said, I've got two other co-founders who have a significant chunk on the cap table. And then we've got
you're the largest individual shareholder on Tamara's cap table today.
Correct.
So it's very clear who's leading it. Now,
I think
was that part of the negotiation? Like, I imagine you took the most talented people from the agency, and I imagine your partners at the agency said, wait, don't take these other two people. Like, we need them. I mean, was that part of the negotiation?
It was really about who on our team had been focused on the tech side. I think that as Sandy evolved over a handful of years, like, it was really clear that there was folks who were running the consulting side of the work, working with clients hands-on, really guiding client priorities, which was really important. And then a team of us that was really more behind the scenes, building tools to help that team. So it actually felt like a pretty clean and logical division of the team at that point. But I do know, personally speaking, this is kind of like a bit that the other early founders may find helpful, is like, I was a 50-50 owner in Sandy, and sometimes that created confusion, honestly, about like who's doing what and who has the most vested interest here. And I think that for me going into Tamara, I needed to know at the end of the day, it's my fault if we screw up, and that responsibility is on my shoulders. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Okay, was there any cash transaction here? Did the agency put $200K into Tamara to get it going?
No. So the agency had spent, along the way, we had a part-time development team building our tool set that the agency was using, like I said, behind the scenes. But we ultimately looked at that as part of the IP transfer deal.
How much was that though? We're talking like 10 grand, 100 grand, $1 million from the,
talking a lot. Yeah. I mean, like just shy of $1 million.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could argue the agency sort of funded the MVP, of which that's why the agency has a little chunk of equity on Tamara's cap table.
Yeah, and to be fair, we were making some revenue from that technology within the agency. So, we consider ourselves tech-enabled services. We're charging a subscription fee to our customers, and so it wasn't all a sunk cost.
Yep. Okay, this makes tons of sense. This is great. So how long did that whole negotiation take, by the way? Was that easy and clean, or took months and months and months?
It's been about 3 months. It's June now. So it's been about 3 months end to end, kind of from making the decision that we were going to fully spin out to negotiating the terms and getting it done. So yeah,
that's awesome.
3 months.
That's awesome. All right. What's the plan to start driving customers? I see when I click book a demo on your site, you say first cohort opens July 1st.
Yes. Well, there's a couple things that are happening. Obviously, we just announced our launch yesterday. So this is really where like the rubber meets the road. Truly, and this is about kind of fundamental bootstraps. Like, I think it's really up to us to find our first handful of customers, because the type of customers that we were servicing in our past agency were enterprise scale customers. They needed a consultancy to help, drive some amount of strategy of their in-housing path. And with this new venture, we're looking at customers who are willing and able to kind of self-serve their way into building an in-house team. And so I think that that's going to look like the smaller end of mid-sized brands. Yeah. So it's just there's just some new focus on finding our new customer base, right? And understanding truly what they need and what they react to. But the first two pieces that we'll be launching over the course of the next few weeks are our guide to in-housing. So, it's a couple lead magnets, right? Is functionally what we're talking about, where we're launching a guide to in-housing that will help brands understand the path of identifying which roles to bring in-house from traditional agencies, where it makes sense to hire flexible support versus full-time support, and some operational knowledge and know-how that we've built along the way doing this for several brands in our past lives, all with the intention of helping people understand like there's a lot of value in the technology that we've created to help check those boxes faster. Mm-hmm. And beyond that, we're also building out, it's a little bit more sophisticated, but it's a in-housing calculator. So if you think about the average ad agency markup, like a healthy ad agency is running a 3x markup, which like hardly anybody's getting away with these days. But any agency that's still in business is running at least a 50% markup on hours. And so if you think about that, even if you've got a team of 10 people over the course of the year, that's a significant chunk of change that companies could be saving and reinvesting in more strategic ways. And so that's what we can help them identify that cost, and we can help them justify what kind of cost savings we're going to be able to provide for them with these self-serve tools.
Yep. That all makes loads of sense. Well, I'm excited to watch how it does over the next couple of months. I'll be watching closely. Hope to have you back on in a year and get an update. But in the meantime,
I would love that.
So let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite book?
I read a lot, and so I don't know if I have a favorite. I just finished Stolen Focus, which is a fascinating read. So I would put that just on my most recent read list.
Number 2, is there a CEO or founder you're studying?
Again, like I look up to a lot of different role models. I think Melanie Perkins at Canva is an amazing female founder. Like, really love following her story. I also use Canva religiously, which might answer your next question.
Yes. So is it Canva? Favorite tool?
I love Canva. Yeah, I'm a really visual communicator. And so I found it really easy to use and really helpful in communicating to our team about, everything from marketing to product.
That's great. And how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I'm a big sleeper, a solid 8.
I love that. All right. And situation, married, single, kids?
I'm married, no kids, small dog.
Small dog. Fair enough. And can I ask how old you are, Ray?
I'm 36.
Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
20 feels like such a baby. I would just say chill out, like I've always been a real type A driver. And I think that I could probably have enjoyed my 20s a little bit more than I actually did. So looking back, I would say have a little bit more fun, chill out, loosen up.
Folks, you met Ray today. She launched Work Sandy, an agency, and grew to $5.5 million of revenue, launched again in 2017. But she was a 50-50 partner, and I wasn't always quite sure who was really driving the thing. What she was excited about was an internal tool this agency had built to manage freelancers. They hired an outsourced dev shop. They spent $800,000-$900,000 building it. We're actually selling it internally for a bit. And Ray said, I want to spin this bad boy out. So she negotiated with her partner at the agency, spun it out. Tamara.com is now her company. She's running with 2 co-founders, and Tamara is also still on the cap table, but they're about to launch their pricing. And this is effectively the tool that has enabled them at the agency to have only 18 full-time employees, but still manage all of their freelancers in one spot. Really high margins, great profile there. She's launching now today, hoping to turn on pricing here in the next couple of months. We'll follow it closely. Ray, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks so much for having me. Take care.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them, and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.